It's time to step up your game.
Let's get ready to rumble!
You're listening to a special presentation of Game On, coming to you from the Calgary and Comic Entertainment Expo. We got interviews, we got cosplay, we got special guests. So get ready, because your presentation of Game On starts now.
Game on! Game on! Game on!
Jeff Johnson here from GameNTrain.com, and I'm joined by a legend in the wrestling world. Joining me today on Game Train is Bret The Hitman Hart. Bret, how are you doing today?
I'm doing real good.
Now, Bret, as a Canadian and a wrestling legend, what is your thoughts looking back on your career? Did you ever think that your career would reach the level that it did when you were first starting out?
No, I never had any imagination that it would ever go. I couldn't have imagined that it would go as well as it did for me. I had a great career. Very proud of all the things I did as a wrestler. But it was very, when I first got into wrestling, it wasn't the popular thing that it is now. And I'm lucky that I, got in, learned it right, and got my break later on when wrestling became really popular. But I wouldn't be the wrestler I am today if I hadn't had the great fans I had. That's the difference between me and a lot of wrestlers. Is my fans were always really loyal and stayed with me through my whole career. I wasn't just a fad. They stuck by me through thick and thin.
Right, and I was one of your fans growing up as well, and one of the things that we found, face, heel, whatever, it's not about that. It's about the wrestler that is presented, that is skills that you show. I guess with that, I'm glad you brought up the fact about the fans. What are some of the strangest things you've ever seen from a fan? Like, what would you say is the strangest thing they've ever done in reaction to seeing you?
Well, I've seen him cry, and I've seen him... Most of the time, I haven't seen anything really bad. I've mostly seen things that just get very excited, But and I'm glad I've been able to do that for people and get them excited and make them give them something to look forward to when they watch me wrestle and things like that. But I've signed a lot of strange anatomy. Maybe that would be an answer to that question. But for the most part, I don't really got any crazy stories.
Okay. So what about your fan base back home? Being here, Calgary Expo, here in Calgary, Alberta, what sort of reaction do you get when you come home?
I feel very normal here. I don't feel like a superstar or anything like that. People don't make me feel like a superstar. I mean, they treat me really lots of respect here in town, and they make me feel important. But nobody bothers me. People are always very polite, and they give me lots of space, and I feel very comfortable when someone comes up and asks me a question or they want to bother me about something. It's like about signing an autograph or asking me about a wrestling match a long time ago. I never mind any of that kind of stuff. My dad was always made me a firm believer that you got to remember your fan base and remember the fans that support you. And every single fan that supports you is important.
Now, Bret, many of the wrestlers from the Hart Dungeon have received quite the spectacle in WCW, WWE, all over the place. I guess, what is your thoughts on the legacy that the Hart Dungeon has received in wrestling?
Well, I think that I hope the credit goes to my father. He was a pioneer of wrestling and wrestling business, the wrestling profession. It wouldn't be the same if it wasn't for the footprint that he made in the wrestling business. But I think that I'm very proud of what my dad accomplished in wrestling, and I'm proud of what I did, and I'm proud of what my brother Owen did, but I don't know that, there's much more to say than that.
Mm-hmm. So, if somebody was looking to get their start in wrestling, what sort of advice would you give them today?
I would tell them to get my DVD out and watch it over and over and over.
Sounds like a good plan. Bret, thank you very much for your time here today.
My pleasure.
I'm Jeff Johnson. You're listening to Game On.
It's all about the game, and how you play it, all about control, if you can take it. Do you think that we could play another game? Maybe I could win this time. Time to play the game, time to play the game, time to play the game!
You're listening to Game On with Jeff Johnson on GameNTrain.com.